Here at A-Court Media, we attempt to talk about politics in a way that promotes civil discourse with truth and respect. We do that right here in the arena. I'm Phillip Britt, your host, and today I'm proud to welcome Stoddard County Collector Treasurer Josh Speman in the arena. Hey. Welcome, Josh.
Hey,
Glad to have you,
it.
man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. So let's start off with, who is Josh Speman?
So Josh Speman, originally from Bell City, Missouri. Mm-hmm. I currently live just outside of Advance, married to my wife, Keandra. She works as a nurse practitioner. I got 3 kiddos. My niece, Mariah, she lives with us. She's 10. My daughter, Nava, she's 9. My son, Josh, he's 4. A veteran from the United States Air Force. I was an aircraft rescue firefighter for there. And then currently, humbly serving as the Stoddard County Collector and Treasurer.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to have you with us, as I mentioned. So you were elected Collector Treasurer in 2020, first time. So tell us kind of what led you to the decision to run for that office. In other words, what kind of got you in the arena?
So I've always wanted to give back and considered myself to be a public servant. Growing up, I farmed, but in high school I farmed and partook in being a volunteer fireman. So I felt like I was a public servant then. And then of course I joined the Air Force and felt like I was a public servant then. And I was in the Air Force Reserve, so simultaneously I was in the Air Force and I also worked on the ambulance and then later for a air medical company. And always felt like that I just, lived my life to be a public servant, and kind of been involved with politics growing up and decided that that would be a good path. Just change directions a little bit, just serve in a different capacity.
Well, interesting. There are a lot of folks probably in Stoddard County, Dunklin County, all the areas around. They know that we have a treasurer collector, mostly because they write a check to that office at the end of the year to pay their property taxes.
Unfortunately.
Right, I know, but that's where they know the name from.
Absolutely.
But that office does a lot more than that. So tell us exactly what your office does.
The Collector Treasurer's Office is pretty unique. There's 114 counties in the state of Missouri, and if I recall correctly, there's only 19 that are collector treasurers. Okay. So Stoddard County and down here in Dunklin County, right. Both are collector treasurers, and then most of the collector treasurers are kind of central north in Missouri. So we have a pretty unique role. Obviously we collect personal property taxes and real estate taxes, but also we handle all of the county's general revenue money, the sheriff's money, and all the different recorders and all the funds. We bring the county's funds together, and we essentially pay the bills off of a voucher that's produced by the clerk, approved by the county commission. We pay the bills, so we kind of handle the money of the county. So it's a multi-role position. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. So in counties besides those 19, those offices are separate. So one office handles the collection of revenue, the other handles the expenditure.
That's correct.
Is that right?
That's
okay.
correct. So typically there's the treasurer side, and it's an elected position, and then there's a collector side, and it's an elected position. So.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. That was actually one thing I was curious about as to whether that was a role. I know in the past, and I don't think they still do, but in some counties, the recorder of deeds and the circuit clerk were combined.
It's funny that you mentioned that. So I get to serve on a couple different boards. One of the circuit clerks, which serving on the MAC board, which is the Missouri Association of Counties, on intergovernmental affairs. So we were dealing kind of with the Circuit Clerks Association's president, and he is in fact a circuit clerk and recorder of deeds. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting. There aren't very many of those left either. A lot of
no.
them.
Now I don't know how many of those. I'm kind of a numbers guy, but
I understand. But and a lot of that is about as much about finance as it is about efficiency.
Yes.
There may not be enough, at least in some of those counties, enough work for 2 offices. Yours probably is. There's probably enough work for 2 offices.
Yeah, I stay pretty busy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I bounce around like a ping pong ball sometimes.
I can imagine there would be. You mentioned being working on the Missouri Association of Counties board, but you're also a member of your association's board as well. So tell us about that involvement in the statewide organizations.
So the we'll talk about the Missouri Collectors Association, the Missouri County Collectors Association board that I serve on. I'm one of the vice presidents on that particular board. And I felt like there wasn't a ton of involvement from Southeast Missouri, so I definitely wanted to get involved there and run. And I've always said, and I've heard this said numerous times from other individuals, that if you're not at the table, you might be on the menu. And so I just wanted to bring my perspective and my opinion to that board and kind of help guide the association. We cover things like upcoming legislation. A lot of legislators will reach out and ask our opinion on particular tax bills or treasury bills or whatever the case may be, assessment bills. We work really closely with the Assessors Association as well, so we kind of help draft that. You know, we've had a big influx with, or a big problem with personal property taxes and such, the growth over the last few years. So we've tried to develop different ways of combating that growth. You know, everyone, left, right, or in the middle, we just don't want to pay just bukus of money.
Sure.
We want to be fair. We try to be realist as well, you know, because it does stay local. Those funds stay local and they help fund things like schools, townships, health board, the ambulance board, different things. So, but we also don't want to see a huge inflation jump. So we just try to bring that, bring those ideas and opinions and you know, that kind of thing to the legislators to make a difference here home.
Well, I'm glad to see that you want to be engaged in that, because I know that you know, I was in the legislature for a while, many years ago, and
thank you for your service, by the way.
thank you, appreciate that. And I just, you know, having that kind of involvement from folks locally on the statewide policy making is hugely important. We always complain about not being heard down here.
Absolutely.
But then if no one steps up to speak, we're never going to be heard. So I appreciate you being willing to step up and take, and it's not just getting involved, it's also taking on certain responsibilities that go along with that.
Well, not just that too, and I didn't mention this a while ago, but being involved with those associations, also networking, because I can pick up a phone and call just about, there's probably one person in at least 100 counties across the state that I know someone there, and so we've built this rapport, we've built this network, and I can say, hey, you know, Mark Hensley in Scott County or Emily Parks in Butler County, you know, I can call them and say, hey, how do you do this particular thing? Or they come across a challenge that I've never seen before. You know, I'm green in comparison to all my colleagues, and I can say, hey, how do you do this? And how did you do it whenever it came across your desk? And so you learn from those people. So networking is extremely important, especially when you're in the arena. You know?
Absolutely, absolutely. So was there anything that really shocked you? Said, oh, I didn't know I was going to have to do that when I became the collector treasurer?
You know, that's a good question. Shocked me.
Or even surprised you a little bit?
Yeah, shocked me or surprised me. I knew that there would be a lot of complaints, especially being the tax collector, or disgruntled individuals. Right. I can't say that there was just a ton of, nothing really sticks out in my mind that really just shocked me. I've tried to roll with the punches. There's a little, I will go back. There is a few things that I didn't realize you had to put out as many fires as you had to put out. There's always something that has to be addressed somewhere that pulls you away from your daily functions.
Well, and you know, a lot of people may not understand how much oversight there is in a position like that. I mean, I know you guys went through an audit.
Yes.
You know, not long ago, right? Not long after you came on board.
So when typically there's a change, especially whenever it comes to dealing with taxpayers' funds, and I agree with this 100%. There's typically an audit, but because we've had such an influx of the ARPA funds, there's an audit every year there. So we do a financial audit. So and then of course every few years we do the state audit, which is a procedural audit. So we've actually, I think I've went through 4, maybe 5 audits so far since I've been in office, and you know, there's always something that they'll find that needs to be changed or critiqued, or they find something that, because it's a collector treasurer position, they're not used to that. In a lot of these auditors aren't used to that in a lot of ways, so they'll find something and say, hey, you can't do it that way because this is not how the other collectors is doing it. So then I have to resort back to, or refer them back to the, revised statute and say, well, because we're a collector treasurer, we do have to do it. We have to do it a certain way.
Right. Well, and the good thing about it is, and the thing about, someone like you is, you can use those audits not as, most people say, oh no, the auditors are coming, this is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
But what you can use it as is an opportunity to get better.
Absolutely.
And they're not looking just to find something you're doing wrong. They're looking to find ways to make sure you do things the way you're supposed to.
100%. And there is a lot of things that I will be the first to admit, yes, I get a little disgruntled whenever it comes to them coming in and saying, hey, you're not doing it right. And then I have to do the research to prove that I am, in fact, doing it right. Or, there was a situation where we had underassessed a few years ago, and it had been going on for several years.
Sure.
And we had an auditor that came in and caught that, and we made those corrections. And, it was really just the funds were fine, but it was a clerical error that had been going on for several years, and we just made that correction. Sometimes it definitely humbles you whenever they find something and you're like, how did I miss that?
But sometimes it's the way it's always been done.
Absolutely.
We just like, oh, well, we're doing it right. We must be doing it right. That's the way we've always done it. So I understand that. So you have filed for reelection.
I have. I'm looking forward to it.
You've been doing this a while now. Give me why Josh Speakman's the guy to continue to be the collector treasurer of Stoddard County.
Well, it's hard to talk about yourself and everything that's went on, but let me just talk about the office a little bit, and we're constantly changing, and we're constantly trying to keep up with the times and adapting. I'll give you a few examples. In the last 2 to 3 years, we passed this thing called the installment plan. Okay. So individuals, once they're current on their taxes, they can come in and enroll in this installment plan, and they can pay monthly. We ACH it out of their account, and then it's 10 equal installments, and then on the 11th installment, we settle up, whether it's long or short. And that was something that I was, huge in favor of doing, and the county commission at the time passed that and adopted it, and I'm really grateful for that. So that's one of the things. So adapting and overcoming, we've strategically located our funds, whether it be CDs or money markets, to get the county good interest rates. We've completely revamped our website. Now you can pay online, you can search your information online. One thing that I hope everyone's appreciative of, we stopped collecting money for receipts, duplicate receipts. That was a complaint right out of the gate, and I thought, okay, these individuals have already paid taxes. They've already paid for this paper. Why am I going to charge them $1 or $2 for a copy?
Because they lost a piece of paper.
Because they lost a piece of paper, and I'm very conservative, and I try to take that to work with me every day and be conservative. But on the flip side, like I said, I try to be a realist as well, and just adapting. We have this program called Engage. You can call in, you can be at the DMV, you can call into the office and say, hey, I didn't pay my taxes. All right, what is your name? We'll look up your account. We'll shoot you a text. You can pay the link. Once we verify that you've paid, we just fax the paid receipt to the DMV. So you never have to leave the DMV. You might have to get out of line at the DMV and take care of that business, but you don't have to drive to Bloomfield, whether it be you're at the Malden DMV, the Dexter, Poplar Bluff, or Sykeston. So just trying to work for the people, and I'm extremely appreciative of being elected and getting to serve, and I look forward to continuing to serve if the people choose that. I hope that that's the direction that they want to go. So just trying to stay on top of my game and for the people.
And those are things that to me, a lot of folks may not know about, and people may not know about the installment opportunity that you have. So that's to pay their personal property tax. Is that what you're talking about?
So the installment
real
plan,
estate tax?
yeah, both. It's think of it as if you have a mortgage company, you have an escrow account.
Yep.
Well, this is a county offered escrow account, and people, have slowly started taking advantage of it. We brought it online about 3 years ago, and I didn't advertise or push it real big because I knew there would be a few hiccups along the way, and so I just didn't want to have this big PR push on here we have this installment program and
Right.
I have 1,000 people sign up for it,
Yeah.
and then I've
And
got a
not
little bit,
work.
yeah, and then I have a little bit of a headache on my hand. One of the things, and here's another reason that I feel like I'm a good candidate, because I'm okay with if I make a decision that didn't go as I thought it would, I can recant, and I'm okay with that. Here's a great example of that is we moved to do the auction, which is probably the worst thing, being the collector, is the land sale auction. It's just really unfortunate, but I follow the law and I follow those procedures. But we moved that to an online
that's
platform.
tax sales for people who haven't paid their taxes on their property.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. So, and it's after they're 2 years delinquent.
Right.
And I try to get out and notify people.
Sure.
I go out and we'll knock doors and talk to people and say, hey, if you could just try to get that oldest year settled up, we're moving in the right
Are a lot
direction.
of those absentee folks that don't live here, or are they most of
It's
them
a
local?
variety,
Okay.
honestly. It might be a home that a grandparent or great-grandparent lived in that burnt down, and the family they have no interest in that home. That's just a piece of land now. It might be someone that's fallen on hard times, and you hate to see that.
Sure.
But as I was saying, we moved that to an online platform. We did it for a couple cycles, 2 years, and realized that it's just not for Stoddard County.
Yeah.
We did create more surplus for the county, which goes to either the person that lost their home or the general school fund. But it just wasn't feasible for the bidders. It wasn't feasible for the extra fees that went on the person that lost the property. So I, ate my words
Some things
and
work, some
withdrew
things
that
don't.
program and went back to in person. So
Well, and it's good that you recognize that and because there are people who will say, no, this is going to work.
yeah,
It's not just because it's my idea,
Yeah.
but and they'll stick with it. But well, I think those are all great, innovative ideas, and I think it's great that you continue to do so. Well, Josh, appreciate everything, you being here and everything today. I do want to give you the last word, give you an opportunity to speak directly to the people of Stoddard County. So I'm gonna step back and let you speak right into that camera.
Well, folks, I appreciate everything that you've allowed me to do in the last 3.5 years, and I look forward to continuing to be able to serve you. I'm very humble for the opportunity, and just keep in mind that I always have an open door policy. You're more than welcome to come in and visit with me and have a cup of coffee with me and express your concerns and your ideas. But I'm extremely grateful and humble for this opportunity. I truly mean that. Thank you.
Well, Josh Speman, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're glad to have you in the arena, glad to have you working for the people of Stoddard County, and wish you the best.
Thank you.